Fireside Chat. So I would love your help in welcoming Tomer Cohen to the stage, the CPO of LinkedIn. Since joining LinkedIn in 2012, Tomer has served in key leadership roles, helping launch and scale new innovative members and customer experiences. He previously led the growth and development of LinkedIn Marketing Solutions portfolio and LinkedIn consumer and mobile products. Prior to LinkedIn, Tomer achieved an MBA from Stanford, worked as an entrepreneur with Greylock Partners, and founded a company in the personal CRM space. Joining Tomer in this session will be Justin Jackson, a partner at Pegasus Tech Ventures, who supports global operations and growth investments. He has led over 20 transactions. Justin also manages international business development and works closely with many of our corporate partners, including Marathon Petroleum Corporation, Nitra, and Calbee. Please give a warm welcome to Tomer and Justin. Tomer and Justin to the stage. Come on, guys, you can do better than that. Come on. Woo!
Hey, everyone.
Thank you so much, Tomer, for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Of course, it's awesome to be with such an amazing, diverse crowd from everywhere. Unbelievable.
So let's get started by just telling us a bit about your career, how you get started, and where you're at today.
Yeah. So I grew up with ever since I remember myself, like a massive passion for building. Like I've always remembered myself building, not necessarily technology, but love building. And then I was really drawn to technology, really like deep technology in my Army service. I saw stuff which were kind of amazing back then, and the Army had ability to kind of see technology in a much deeper way when I was 18. And that kind of drew me into the kind of world of technology more and more. And I came to the Valley 2018, came with this vision of startups and entrepreneurship. And my journey to LinkedIn actually started well before I joined the company. In 2018, I went to, 2008, sorry. 2008, I went to a Stanford engineering talk about social networks. If you go back in time a little bit, social networks was like all the rage back then. The conversation was about Facebook time spent on the internet, like between Facebook and Netflix. They kind of had half of the bandwidth of the internet. And I went to the talk. It was super interesting. But there was one person in particular that I gravitated towards. It was the Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. And he just talked about social networks in a whole different way. It wasn't about time spent. It wasn't about gaming. It was about economic opportunity. And I've never heard that before. And Reid just basically talked about how, really for him, if you bring communities together in a professional way, you can basically progress in any economic development. And I thought it was, in a way, mind-blowing that professional communities had the power to be a catalyst for the economy. And always kind of kept in touch with LinkedIn over the years. And I was mentioned for Justin, I had a startup after school. And I had a chance to meet LinkedIn through the startup. I was a developer on top of LinkedIn. And then one day I had a session with the chief product officer for LinkedIn, so the person who I'm in the role today. And this is late 2011. We talk about LinkedIn and mobile. LinkedIn was a very desktop-heavy company. Me coming from the startup community, it was all about mobile. Mobile was the most interesting thing. It's almost like AI today, in an extent. And he asked me, how would you build LinkedIn as a mobile product? And being kind of an audacious, chutzpah kind of founder, I said, here's how I would do it. And then he said, instead of talking about it, how about you come and build it? And that was the beginning journey into LinkedIn. And full circle, now I'm in this role, and I'm looking for people who will rebuild LinkedIn as an AI product.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, that you've gone through quite the journey. So, as the chief product officer at LinkedIn, what is kind of your main process I'm sure you have a lot of people with a lot of ideas, especially now. How do you determine and managed kind of the feature roadmap that you have?
Yeah, we have a great process that I learned at LinkedIn. So this was not mine. I very much embraced it and learned it from our former CEO, Jeff Winter. And it's called vision to values. And we use this religiously internally. And everything we do at LinkedIn ladders up to our vision. So if you ask anybody on my team, how is this feature helping us achieve the vision for the company, hopefully they'll be able to explain to you instantaneously. And the way we do it is we look at the vision for the company. For LinkedIn is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. So we think about the value of LinkedIn as connection to economic opportunity. And that's in a way the dream, right? It's like every member of the global workforce, 3 billion plus people, and we're trying to reach them all and have them all have access to opportunity. But then we take it down a notch to a mission. And the mission we define as how do you make that vision tangible on a daily basis? How can you measure the impact of your vision? And for us, it's to connect the world's professionals and make them more productive and successful. For we look at bringing connections together, and then we measure productivity for people. So we actually measure on the platform how many people were hired. So on LinkedIn, every minute, 6 people are hired on the platform. How many connections are formed? It's in the millions per minute. How many people are learning on the platform? How many people are generating leads for their businesses on the platform? That's how we measure value. We don't measure time spent. We measure productivity on the platform itself. And then we take it to the audiences themselves and their jobs to be done. And on LinkedIn, there's quite a few. If you think about it, there is somebody looking to hire somebody, the hirer, and somebody looking for a job. There's somebody who's looking to build their business, and somebody who's looking to buy products. There's somebody somebody has a question about a problem they're having at work. Everything from how do I connect my online shopping experience to how do I give feedback to a peer, to somebody who's been there before. So in a way, every interaction at LinkedIn is between 2 people, at least 2 people. And our goal is to bring it together. So we look at those jobs to be done. That brings us to our strategy. And you can think about what's happening right now with our role is how do you completely reimagine your experience with an AI-powered experience? And then all the way to the priorities and then to the features. By the time we get to the features, they're pretty clear because that thing is laid out really, really well for us. But that process, whether you're a startup of 5 people or a company of 20,000 people, I highly recommend doing it. It clarifies for everybody, what are you solving for? Why do you exist? And it breaks it all the way down to the feature level. Imagine how powerful it is for everybody in your company to know how the pixel they're adding is moving the vision for the company. It's very fulfilling in terms of purpose-driven culture, but it's also very aligning in terms of priorities for the organization.
Yeah, I think maybe jumping to the AI point that we want to highlight a lot here. I think, how are you focused on that? We've seen some of the features that have been announced, resume builders, and some of those items that you have that are helpful on the platform. What are some of the main initiatives you guys have that you can talk about today?
Yeah, so AI is not new for LinkedIn. I've been personally working in AI for north of 12 years, and at LinkedIn, ever since 2007, I think this was our first AI product. We launched The People You May Know, where we were trying to help infer who are people who should be in your network and how you should connect with them. I would say up until the last couple of years with generative AI, our focus has been primarily on matchmaking. So imagine there's a company looking for amazing people, talent, and there's amazing talent looking for the dream opportunity. And AI was kind of in the background. You never really saw it. It was playing more of a matchmaking role. You can think about a buyer and a seller. How do you make that matchmaking connection work? Think when somebody has a question, they're looking for experts in their field. So AI for us has been mostly in the background, like you didn't see it. The biggest change we made, a lot of it was GPT-4 and the innovation that came from Microsoft and OpenAI has been bring AI to the forefront. So across all of our product suite right now, we completely reimagined them. In fact, since the 3rd of October, we relaunched literally every one of our product suites with the idea of AI in the forefront, not just the background. So as an example right now, literally in November 1st, we launched our knowledge seeker experience. So when you scroll through the feed, you're able to see deep dives and learning opportunities into every post you see. Imagine somebody opens their feed right now in the Philippines and they're seeing there's an amazing startup forum conference happening in San Francisco. But next to it is like, hey, learn what's happening there. Who is talking? What are the best tidbits and insights from the day? How do I get in for the next year? How do I sign up? So it becomes more than a post. It becomes a window of real opportunity to come into it. That we launched, and now we're scaling to our membership. On the job seeking side, as an example, job seeking for many years has not changed, right? You basically saw a job description. Most folks, their biggest decision was, is this right for me? Can I get this job? They read this thousands and thousands of words trying to make a call. They hesitate. They're not sure if they should apply. But imagine having a career coach next to you. That basically you literally say, invoke a career coach, and he's like, hey, is this opportunity good for me? And instantaneously you get hey, I'm looking at your profile. I'm looking at the company's needs. I'm looking at folks who work in this role. And I assess your skills as so-and-so. And here's where you're strong, and here's where you can improve. And by the way, where you can improve, here are the skills you need to learn. And by the way, for this role, you have a connection in common that works at this company. So you might want to reach out to them. We literally did a research session the other day with a member who had access to this for the last 3 weeks. And he said that for months he was trying to get a job. And with this career coach experience, he changed the way he applied because of all the advice he got and the coaching, and he landed the job within 2 weeks. That's pretty amazing. That's for me where technology, thank you. That's where technology becomes really an idea of you can drive purpose and meaning. Career coach is expensive for people. And now it's accessible for everybody. And that's the advancement we're seeing. And we're doing this across almost every one of our product suite.
And you have a big education component that you guys have been really focused on. So what's your roadmap for AI education for your members?
Yeah, I love that. That's another example where AI for me is unbelievable. So, personally about myself, I love learning. I love reading books. I'm one of those that, goes to sleep with a book every night. And I really enjoy the form of learning. But I know it's hard. It's it's productivity. It's like vegetables for most people. It's harder to push for people in terms of learning. But the best way to learn for people, for myself included, is a one-on-one session. So when I want to learn something, I just look for the best experts I can find on the topic, and then I riff with them. I just start asking questions nonstop until I'm able to form a really good opinion. And it's been my MO. When I want to learn something, I literally try to find the best person that I know on the topic. I ask for some of their time, and then I riff with them on the topic itself. Now you can do it for everything. So what we launched basically a learning coach. Now if you go to LinkedIn Learning, we have an amazing library of content, phenomenal content. But instead of you going to the lecture, how about you just have office hours with the instructor? So instead of doing this big open bandwidth conversation, how about you do a one-on-one session with the instructor? What's a better form of learning? That's basically the holy grail. It's personalized learning. So you can do that right now on LinkedIn. We're going to start opening it up to more and more topics. And that's been incredible. And seeing the responses there has been really game-changing. But I think of this as I honestly believe that with AI, our opportunity, there's two things that are coming together really in a really important way. One, the skill to learn is critical because our jobs are going to change materially. In fact, think about your job today. You might not like it, but your job is going to change dramatically over the next few years. So you either keep up with it, stay ahead of it, or the job is going to outgrow you. In fact, just a stat from LinkedIn, in the last 6 years, the skill set to do a certain job changed by 25%. By 2030, the skill set to do your job today will change by 50%. So in many ways, like the idea of I got a job and I'm keeping it is gone. Now, entrepreneurs, don't worry, I'm not worried about this crowd. By definition, you're trying to reinvent. But for many people, it's a big change. The great part with AI is that AI would allow you to learn much faster and much better. And there's some great apps and software and abilities out there to do it. So in a way, AI is accelerating the path of change, and it's going to change the way your job is done, but at the same time, it's going to help you learn faster. So it's in a way complementary to the change it's going to bring as well.
Do you have any specific examples that you can highlight that are maybe the most profound for you that you think, like in terms of jobs, that you think are going to be like that people really should focus on?
Yeah, honestly, it's hard to find a job which would not be disrupted in a way or changed in a role. In fact, the best way to think about it, and I'll give a few examples, is you have to stop thinking about the job as the title and just think about the job as the skill set. And that skill set, some is going to stay, some is going to change. 50% is going to change in the next few years. The title might be different, but the skill set is what you want to be focused more on. It's the task you're trying to do. I'll give the example as a product builder. You can think about it like the idea of unbundling and bundling. To build a product in the future, and I don't mean many years from now, I mean very soon, you can probably design it with AI, you can code it with AI, you can spec it with AI. So what exactly are the roles of the different people building it? You can think of a go-to-market leader and how over time there was so many roles opening up. You know, SDR, sales development reps, and and customer success reps, and account executives, and marketing performance marketers, and brand marketers, and all the aspects of building a go-to-market machine, and how in a way some of it is going to basically compress in terms of the talent stack. New skill set is going to come up, and new skill set will basically be replaced. And those are just a few of those. Think about a medical doctor at this point. A lot of the medical profession is about taking notes, meticulous notes before and after meetings, entering all those notes into the machine. I think a lot of it would start to really disappear in a great way because AI will take care of it, and you can really focus on what's inherently human. So in every one of our audiences we serve on LinkedIn, the process we went back to the whiteboard, and really when the revolution of AI came to fruition in the last couple of years with generative AI, we wrote down all the skill sets. And we tried to see, like, let's take a recruiter, all the skill set for the recruiter. And what we realized is only the parts which are innately human, imagination, strategy, human connection with the candidate, that's going to stay and that's going to be amplified. But there's a lot of drudgery in doing recruiting today. There's a lot of drudgery in doing sales today. But there's also strategy and there's also human connection. And I think if you ask your average salesperson, they'll say, like, I love spending time with my customers. Help me be more of a strategic consultant to my customers instead of like pushing sales between CRMs. A lot of that drudgery is going to go away. And I think what you would allow is a lot more imagination, a lot more strategy, a lot of things that inherently are human for all of us and what we would like to do even more. In fact, somebody on my team said it and it really resonated. You ask people sometimes like, do you love your job? And they'll say, I love my job, but I hate my day. My day is filled with mundane tasks. Feels like I'm moving boxes around. But what I'm trying to do, I love. And I think we can actually unleash that vision for people that what you love about your job will be the main part of your job, and what you don't like about it usually is the mundane task, and that will go away.
So maybe we shift gears. Obviously, we have a lot of startups here from all around the world. What are your recommendations for them as they try to keep up here with the change that's going on? And obviously, from a company that's, with Microsoft and OpenAI, how do they, stay ahead and build a, competitive advantage?
Yeah, it's an amazing time to be in the startup world right now, because on one hand, there's so much innovation, and there's so much you know the future is going to be different. The only question is, will you be the one changing it or somebody else? But you know the future is going to be different. So it feels like the pace of innovation is going to reach levels that I think will be unprecedented. And the startup community usually is the one as the catalyst moving that forward. But the games have changed a little bit. Like, tech companies, they're not waiting for anybody to tell them where the market is going, and they're also thinking about it. And AI as itself has a lot of importance in terms of resources. GPUs is a big part of running AI at scale, and that's not easy as a startup community. Data is really important when you want to run AI at scale, and that could be a virtuous cycle or a vicious cycle depending on where you sit. So I think in one hand, innovation is going to be there, and it would be hard to believe the startup will not be the one pushing it through. But it's not I would say the previous cycles where you would look at current companies and you would imagine it will take them a long time to move. Companies are moving really fast right now. So it would require a different skill set. I think when it comes to AI, the thing to think about hard is, from a startup perspective, do you have an asset that is unique? If you're going to try to be linearly better, you are not going to be successful, in my opinion. I think the developer conference from OpenAI a couple of weeks ago really changed trajectories for so many startups because they were trying to build on the elephant trail that what OpenAI was already building on. If you're trying to build one more agent that does marketing copy better with generative AI, you're not unique. So really the question is, do you have access to unique data, exclusive data that can actually make your AI better and unique? That's one question you want to ask yourself. Two is, are you in some shape or form can embed yourself into flows which are unique? Can you be part of the flows of how people work? Can you focus on a category that is really unique to you, that you understand really, really well what to build on? Because I think we'll see a lot of more unique purpose, less general purpose machines, but more kind of dedicated purpose machines or solutions for certain areas. So can you think about those markets where you can play a different role in? But if you're just going to do something better in a category which is already pretty crowded, it's going to be hard for you to differentiate yourself. And actually, the technology itself might disrupt you, which is not a great place to be. So in a way, you have to balance for those two, and you have to ask yourself, what's differentiating for you? Now, one part which is always differentiating for startup, which is why I love working with startups, is they're not confused. When a startup usually is very focused because they know exactly what they're trying to solve, and they have a hypothesis on how to solve it. They don't have the resources to be confused about how to solve it. Sometimes it's a curse to have resources because you're trying to do a lot and you're not trying to focus. And I think that's probably your biggest advantage. It's the focus you bring in, is the problem you know really, really well. But I would really try to think of other assets that you can bring to the table that will differentiate you from the pack. That will be critical going forward.
I have one more question on that topic. So do you think that LinkedIn is doing enough for startups today?
For us, we think of ourselves as a platform for anybody. And there's companies, I can tell you, there's so many companies I meet on a regular basis that build their company on top of LinkedIn. Completely. This is not the classic startup out there, but a few weeks ago, I was in Madrid, and I met with this amazing entrepreneur who used to be a toy maker. And wanted to change, he wanted to still use a skill set, but for a different purpose. He wanted to create artificial limbs for people who needed them. And he had no idea how to run a business. He only knew how to create them. So on LinkedIn, he started asking questions. How do I build a business plan? How do I hire somebody for my team? How do I reach out to people in need of artificial limbs that I can build them? How do I make it cost effective? What materials should I use? And from scratch, he built his business on LinkedIn. Amazing story, but it's the community that actually helped him. So I think from a startup perspective, I'm pretty sure most of you use LinkedIn now, effectively, but you should use it for everything you want, from finding partnerships, funding, people to hire. The best hires you want probably already have a job today, so you want to think about how you poach them out and bring them into your startup. But I think it's an incredible tool for startups. In terms of like LinkedIn specifically, we really think of ourselves as a platform. Like you come in, you can build your business, you can reach out to people, you can grow your business, you can market, sell, hire, train, all on top of LinkedIn. For most people, it's like the LinkedIn is like the human brain. You use at most 10% of it. But there's incredible capabilities on LinkedIn. I think it really be a superpower for startups all overall.
Sounds good. I'll keep you to it. Thank you so much for your time.
Of course. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course. Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights.
Good to see you.
Appreciation for you. Can we get another round of applause? That was such an inspiring speech. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Appreciate it. Good to see you again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Look at that great photo. You could